What's going on, everyone? Great Talent here, and today the prey is going to be my micro retro review, mini bite-sized review of a little title called Vice Project Doom that I recently discovered on my Nintendo Switch online service app. If you have Nintendo Switch, the online service, it's $19.99 a year. That's pretty cheap. It's only like maybe like $2 a month, if that. And you get all this whole library and catalog of all old Nintendo games, ranging from Super Mario Brothers, Legends of Zelda, Metroid, not Castlevania. You get Ninja Gaiden, a whole bunch of different games. And this game in particular was recently added, and it resonated and stuck out with me because of its aesthetic and what it looks like and feels like. And that it feels like a cross between Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden. More so on the aspect of Ninja Gaiden side. It's not as, okay. It looks, as you can tell, it has a little bit of the aesthetic of Ninja Gaiden with the way that the player life bar and enemy life bar are set up, the cutscenes that are like the artistic style, the cutscenes in between chapters. There's also a vast similarity in difficulty. It's not as challenging right away. They like to butter you up in this game first. At the end of every level, they'll give you, or the end of every sub-stage, the game is broken down into sub-stages. There's 11 chapters in the game, and each section has 2 or 3 sub-chapters. But before each sub-chapter ends, and right before you fight a boss of each chapter, what's really cool is they'll have the last enemy on screen. He or she will drop a replenishment health item, whether it be a can of soda, a pork chop, something that will replenish most of your health. And you get 3 lives. There's save states on the NES Online app. You can save wherever you want. There's rewind feature that was recently added on the NES Online app. You can rewind. But this game originally came out on Nintendo back in 91, I believe, 1991. And it's like a little cool cop drama type thing. It deals with like robots and creatures and all that stuff, corporations, you're trying to get your partner back, blah, 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 all this stuff. It's not the stories, the story back then wasn't really paying attention to, but you get like a little rail shooting parts like this, which is really cool. I really enjoyed like the rail shooting aspect of it. A few levels were like this. Reminded me a little bit of Time Crisis or like, the old Terminator games back in the arcade back in the day. And also some stages are like this, like Spy Hunter. Where you have to shoot, guns from a fucking car like your James Bond while just going vertical up and down. And there's like bosses at the end of every. It's pretty cool. This is my favorite part of the game. These parts right here, the Spy Hunter parts, and the rail shooting like Terminator parts were my favorite parts of the game. The rest was pretty cool. It was fun. It was a fun ride while it lasted. There were certain levels in like the later parts of the game where. They were really hard. Like, see, there's the pork chop. Like, it was really hard, but at the same time, I felt they encouraged you. Like, the game wanted you to succeed. Now, that was until I got to a brick wall at the last and final boss. You see, even after you beat the first phase of the boss, they have like 2 more phases. And but the only problem is. The first phase of the boss is like, it's, if they're going to have a 3-phase boss fight, okay, folks, developers out there, if you want to learn this, if you're going to have a 3-phase boss fight, what you definitely want to do, and this is coming from Mr. Conductor here, I know what I'm talking about, I've been playing games since I'm 4 years old, you don't want to siphon all of the character's health within the first phase, and don't give him any replenishment or chance to heal in between the second and third phases, because you give 1 health bar. You want to give health, and the thing that baffles me too, and it's a little strange here, they wanted to give me health every single possible chance they could, which is great. It encouraged you to keep playing, encouraged you to keep getting better and progressing through the game. But in the final boss, for some reason, they kind of just said, "Fuck you, get good." And no healing items in between the 3 phases. 1 health bar for all 3 phases. In the first phase, pretty much just, even if you follow the pattern, you will find yourself with at least 3/4 of your health sucked away by the time you enter phase 2. And by that time, you're just like fuck this, I'm good. I didn't beat the final boss because I said, you know what, I'm not going to get frustrated with 3 phases, and I'm not as good as the game wanted me to be at this point in time. Like, I should have known that there was going to be a catch, because the game was way too similar to Ninja Gaiden. So at the whole game, I was just like, all right, where's the Ninja Gaiden catch? And if you don't know what I mean by Ninja Gaiden catch is that there's going to be some point in the game where it's ridiculously impossible, have an impossible caveator or feat to do, and you're just like, wow, throwing your hands up and saying, yeah, screw this, screw you guys, I'm going home. That's pretty much it. You get in the Cartman voice and you go, screw you guys, I'm going home. Meh. And that's kind of what I did. I said, it was a good game, don't get me wrong. Hindered the score for me to know that it was a little broken in that aspect of the final boss. I really didn't appreciate that difficulty spike. I wasn't a fan of that with no other way. And even if you have save states and rewind feature, it's still, there's only so many times you can rewind and save state before, you run out of steam. And you're like, I've been trying and trying and trying, and I'm just making no headway, no traction. But with that being said, if I had a score Vice Project Doom, I would give it a solid 7. I think it's a decent game. If you have the NES Online app, you could play it now for free if you have the NES service. This is one of the good things about the NES, being the Nintendo Switch. You pay a very nominal fee, and you get, I think there's over 30 to 40 games on the NES Online app that you can play for absolutely free. And the best part about it is you get co-op, and you can play with a buddy online with all these co-op Nintendo games virtually, either with couch co-op or online support as well, which is really cool. And it does feature voice support too if you have the NES app on your phone, which is really cool. Look at me, I'm sounding like a Nintendo spokesperson. They should hire me as freelance. But anyway, that being said, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you ever heard of this game? Is this a blast from the past for you, or is this totally news to you? Anyway, thanks again for stopping by. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub below, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.